Hello there. This is Dr. BB joining you on Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I tried, guys, to do that Wednesday night show at 10 p.m., thinking that it would all be, so catchy to do Dr. BB in the middle of the week. But I am not a night person. I never have been a night person. And so I figured out I do my best shows on Sundays because Sundays I've always been, my day. That's my day for thinking. I spend all day grading. I write my case notes. Sometimes I'll pump out an article or four, maybe two, update my website and do all those kinds of creative things. So here I am with you on Sunday afternoon. And so I'm hoping that I have some folks join me, and if not, hey, it's just me all by myself. I'm trying to figure out how to get the music to play on here, but it's just not working for me. So I think I probably need to clear out the cache on my Mac. So, there's a plug for Apple. I don't make a damn dime from that. All right, so folks, um, first of all, I want to give a shout out to our friends in Texas because we do have them. Texas has a reputation of being a red state. It does. But when it comes to human lives and people suffering, there's no red or blue. There's just humans, just people suffering. And so I just want to say, because you see, I have students who live in Texas, and they are going through some heck right now. They think that I'm the evil genie, you know, but I'm not. And I just want them to know that Dr. BB is thinking about them and hoping that they get through this. It's hard, folks, and I went about a week without power and internet and everything. I had water during the hurricane in September, I think it was. And, it was just a little while. I wasn't too cold. I didn't get hot. Everything was cool. And, I just made it. But I didn't have any little kids to worry about. I had plenty of food. There's DoorDash, right? So, for the people in Texas, I know that what I experienced here in Atlanta, Georgia was nothing compared to what many of you are suffering there. And so I just want you to know, if you're listening, that my heart is with you. All right. So again, I'm changing back to Sunday, going to keep it around the 6 p.m. time frame because that's about when I start to wind down. My mind has done all that it can do, and I just want to chill for a little while. All right. So of course, I'm going to bring up something about politics. That's what I do. All right. So what the F, man, Ted Cruz. I mean, I know that everybody has seen those shots of him with his shocked look this week. Sorry about that. I'm getting a little bit of a cold. I swear to you, it's not COVID. I have not been around a soul. All right. But that dude, I mean, there's just something wrong, guys, with the mind of Republicans, with conservatives in general. And I mean, when I say conservatives, I guess I mean these idiots. I realize that there are some good Republicans out there. It's been hard for us to see who they are lately, but I think that a few of them are beginning to come out and reveal themselves to us. So, but seriously, I mean, studies have been done to study the mind, to examine the mind of right wingers and religious fundamentalists, and they think differently than we do. Now, what may come as a huge surprise to you is that in MRI studies, there's very little difference in the way these right-wingers and these religious fundamentalist minds look on MRI um, studies than a sociopath. Isn't that absolutely crazy? Pardon the pun. I talk a lot on this show about empathy. And it just seems to me that the Ted Cruzes of this world do not know what it's like to feel for someone else. I got to tell you right now, I'm just going to tell you right now that when my baby girl was about 12 years old, if something like this had been going on in our neighborhood and she asked me, could we go on vacation? And I know good and well that his child did not do this. But if she asked me, I would say, child, we are going to go out there and we're going to hand out water and food and blankets and see what we can do about getting these people some help. Hells to the no. We're not going to go on a vacay. My baby girl would have never asked for that. And I know that Tom Cruise, hell, Ted Cruz, that his daughter did not ask for that. And I got to tell you, everybody said it. No child in the world is going to say, Daddy, take us to Cancun. No, they're not. That would be boring to a kid. So that's all I got to say about his overly rotund, belly hanging out over his jeans, hair too greasy and too long. Ted, if you're going to wear your hair long, God damn, wash it. That's all I got to say about that. All right. All right. So now we know that DJT is going to Florida this week for a rally, and he's going to be talking about his plans for the Republican Party. Dude, 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 dude. We know what your plans are for the Republican Party. You've jumped on their gravy train and you knocked it over, spilling gravy everywhere, and now everybody else is trying to clean up your mess. You just need to stop, boy. You just need to stop. We don't need you. We don't want you. Okay? You're down there in Florida. We know that COVID is running rampant down there. Let's see, when was it that you had your case? Have you been vaccinated yet? I hope not. Maybe, just maybe you're not immune anymore. I don't know. Does that sound mean? Oh, wait, I don't care. That's like cursing the devil. Devil, go to hell. Donald, die, damn it. That's all I've got to say. But no, wait, don't do that, because those people who think that we're having a March 4th inauguration will be claiming that there's been a transfiguration, and all those people who have evacuated to Crazy Town will be talking about the resurrection of Donald Trump. What is wrong with people today? Let me tell you something. Let me just tell you something right now. If Jesus was real, he would be rolling over in his tomb right now at people comparing him to the likes, or vice versa, of Donald Trump. Oh my God. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with people. I really do not know what is wrong with people. I'm not a religious person. I do respect people's right to have a religion. And I know that for some people that it is kind of good for them. But this is crazy talk, folks. It is crazy drinking up the Kool-Aid talk. So stop it. Stop it. Right now, we have a president in the White House who's a grown up. He doesn't care about people talking about him. He doesn't care about the fact that people may not like him. He cares about us, human beings. He doesn't care about power, doesn't care about accolades, not always talking about how great he is. He just cares about us. But all you people who are partying up in crazy town, talking about how none of what is going on in the world that is real is real, let me tell you, you have had a break with reality. The reality is that if we don't get this shit together now, those of you out there riding the crazy train are going to be killing the rest of us. That's how it happens. That's how societies have been wiped out since the dawn of time. Okay? It's as simple as that. And so, we have had natural disaster after natural disaster. Things that have happened are beyond our control. Now, granted, okay, the king of Crazy Town this week, next to Ted belly hanging over his belt buckle Cruz, is the governor of Texas, who's blaming it on the windmills. Okay, science deniers, I don't have any. I'm talking no patience with you. Okay? All right? The thing of it is that we've had natural disasters that we could have been prepared for if it weren't for the crazy science deniers. All right? So let me explain something to you. Most of the science deniers, they feel that if they believe in science, then they cannot believe in, I don't know, God. All right? So let's just say for a moment that God is real. And that is a big if, okay? Let's just say for a moment that God is real. Science is about natural elements working together. All right, when we're talking about earth science here, natural elements working together. What is so damn crazy about that? We know that there is electricity in the air. All you've got to do is slide your feet across the floor and go touch grandma. She's going to knock the hell out of you because you just shocked her. Baby, that is science. All right? There's nothing wrong with believing in science. But what bothers some of you is that if you recognize that science is real, then you also have to recognize that some of that stuff that's in that Bible you read is a bunch of crap. Okay? I would rather be sure that what's in that book is a bunch of crap and that I can jump on the wheels of modern day science, ride that train, and put what is wrong right in the world. We have black and brown communities that are dying because of ecological racism. Okay? We have to fix these things. We cannot allow the ecosystem to fall apart and know that because we live in the suburbs, we live in the big cities, and we've got money, and we pay taxes, and we live in areas where the taxes are a little bit higher, we are okay. When black and brown people are not okay, nobody is okay. We spend so much time in this country, all right, going back to DJT, motherfucker. We spend so much time in this country worried about what Israel is going to think about us because they are God's people. But we do not worry for one damn minute what black and brown people think. When black and brown people, black people specifically, were the first humans to grace this earth. And what scares the F out of white supremacists is because they know in their heart of hearts that black people are going to be the last people to go down. That's a scary thought. Now, isn't it, for some of my white supremacist listeners? We will not let each other down. And the thing of it is, with all that black people have endured at the hands of injustice, it was not black people. It was not Black Lives Matter. It was not Black Panther movement members. It was not any of us who took siege of the Capitol on January 6th. It was people who used paid time off from their jobs to go do this shit. Now, I hope that every military member and every cop, every government worker, I hope that they have their pension stripped from them for what they did. They do not deserve anything from the government after what they did. They do not deserve to have salaries that are paid to them by taxpayer money. And that includes Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and, oh my God, Lindsey motherfucking in the closet, get the hell out, Graham. I'm just tired. I'm just sick of them all. Okay? To know that we have people working in Texas right now who have been the bane of the Republican Party's existence. Okay? We have Alexandria. She's there. We have Beto. He is there. We have so many people who are supposed to be she devils and he devils just because they believe in equality and justice, who are doing more for the people of Texas than Ted Cruz. How he beat Beto in that election, I have to get, because I know that until now, Texans have been blind. I hope that what they have gone through this past week has opened their eyes to how Ted Cruz really feels about them. And I don't know what Beto's future plans are, but I'll be behind him. I will be behind him. So, for this rally and this March 4th inauguration of Donald Trump that the crazy people in Crazy Town have planned, okay, there's a reason they're planning for March 4th. So for myself, I do not grace the dark web at all. But if any of you do, for whatever reason, it could be a porn, I don't know, no judgment. But whatever you do, if you see something, say something. Because there was so much chatter, even here in my own neighborhood. I had some redneck motherfucker saying, when I was complaining, and some of my other neighbors were complaining about the incessant fireworks that began on Christmas Eve and lasted for 2 weeks, that we should just wait for January 6th. I had no idea what he was talking about. January 6th has just been another day on the calendar for all of us until now. That makes my blood run cold. I knew that it meant something. I just didn't know what it meant. And now I do. And so I've like gone back over the neighborhood post trying to find out, oh man, who posted that? Because I want to look up his address. I want to make sure he doesn't live on my street. That kind of talk is crazy, but they are amongst us. Now, I do have to say that living in Atlanta, honest to God, I feel safer living here than if I were to, for example, live in the Midwest. I mean, I do have to say that in all sincerity. I mean, there's just something crazy going out in the Midwest. And, for example, and I've talked about this before, all these crazy weirdos who were carrying these stupid ass Confederate flags from Michigan. Hello, Michigan was not a part of the Confederacy, you stupid fuck. That's what I want to say to them. And I am, if they're listening. And I hope they are, because nothing would thrill me more than if they were just listening to what I have to say. The thing that gets me, it really does get me, is that we continue to have these same battles over and over and over again. We keep having the same discussions over and over and over again. And there is one group of people on this planet who have never had to fight for their rights. And that is the white male. The white male has never had to carry a picket sign for his life. Now, sure, the Vietnam War and all those guys who didn't want to go, and, sure, it was a war and all that stuff. I get it. I do, really. Barring that, no white male has ever had to rally for rights, has never had to raise money for rights, has never had to fight for a single goddamn thing because it's right there for the taking. And that is the truth. And it does not matter whether you're European, whether you're North American, whether you are Middle Eastern. The lighter your skin is, the more respect you get. And there is something wrong with that. And I will tell you And I'm not saying this just because I'm an atheist. I'm saying this because I am a learned atheist. It goes back to the Bible. Yes, the Bible, which talked about those people, and it was referring to people of Africa as being devils. Black people were always thought of as devils. And that is the reason that the color black always has so many negative connotations. There's black magic, black hearted, blackballed, blacklisted, and it goes on. It goes on. You know, I grew up in the South, and I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and I talked about how that in the South, little old white ladies, when I was a kid, they would lower their voices whenever they said the word black, just like they did when they said the word cancer. You know, they would say, you know, Geraldine, she's got cancer. They would say, Mr. Tommy, he bought him a brand new black car. They would lower their voices, you know. You know, it's that black man. Black is not a bad word. It's not bad to be black. You can be black and bad, and I mean bad in a good way. But it is not a bad thing. Black people are beautiful in all of our various shades and hues. You know, Tupac, who did not coin this phrase, he actually stole it from one of the Harlem Renaissance greats. Said the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And that's true. Especially when persons with black skin walk upright and tall and proud of who they are and love who they are in their skin, love who they are in their hair, with their nose, their lips, their hips, everything. We have to love ourselves and accept ourselves for the rest of the world to see the beauty. Now, I know you may be thinking that that comes easy from someone as light of skin as myself. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Sure, it does. But trust me, I look at myself and I have to remind myself that I don't have to be blonde and blue eyed to be beautiful. I have to tell my daughter, bless her, who is the most beautiful girl, she turned Ted's, but she has always wanted to be blonde and blue eyed, and she is not. She is not. And finally, at the age of 20, she is accepting herself as a woman of color. And that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy because we come from a family that has every color in the rainbow. Well, at least the rainbow of black and white and brown. And it's hard to fit in. It is hard to fit in. But whenever someone says to me that, you know, why can't people just get over slavery? I say, look at me. Look at me. The reason that people say, what are you? What is your background? Is because I am a product of that. The ultimate in gene washing was rape of black women during slavery. Now, my family, they passed for white for years in the shadows. I grew up in the colored area of town, wasn't accepted by white folks, and the black folks, they treated my mother like she was a queen, and she was. And now my mother, man, that was a beautiful woman, but she never knew it. and she hid. She hid her entire life for fear of being found out. And so, yeah, when people ask me, well, why do you have to say? Because number one, I'm proud of it. And number two, because my mother had to hide from it her entire life. And I do this for her because she never could be herself. And so, yeah, I'm going to be myself. And I encourage everyone out there to be themselves. We've got work to do. We've got lots of work to do. And the only way for us to do it is to do it together. So, for all of those people out there who are trying to divide us from one another, we got to stop listening to them. And for those woke white folk, we got a lot to teach them. But the ones who are trying, you got to give them their props, man, because they are trying. They really want to do better. I had my troubles there for a little while, with these weepy white women going to book clubs and all that and talking about how they never realized how biased they were. I had to get over myself. I really did, and that was hard. And so over the past few years, I've been working on that part of myself. I had to forget that these women were not little Holly Booth with her blonde hair and blue eyes that I was in the first grade with, and I hated that little bitch with a passion. Okay? I have to remember that they're not Holly. Now, let me tell you about Holly. I did hate her. And one of these days, I guess I'll look her up on Facebook and tell her that if she goes back to 6 Mile Elementary and digs up the playground, that she might find her black patent leather Mickey Mouse purse that she thought she could shove in my face and brag about how much money her daddy had and that could get away with it. Okay, Holly, if you're listening to me, I'm really sorry about your purse. I hope that Holly has grown up and that she no longer looks like Shirley Temple, is all I got to say. All right. So, yep, those are my demons. I wear them, I display them, I talk about them because that's who makes us who we are. Lord, I've got stories that I can tell you from the playground. When I would try to explain to my friends in elementary school about my family, I had one girl who said one day, well, I thought mixed people were like polka dots. That's what my daddy said. Now you got to realize I grew up in the deep, deep ass South. I mean, in a little town, can't even find it on a map anymore, I don't think. And actually, you never could. But if you've ever listened to the podcast S Town, dudes, that's where I grew up. All right. So look it up, S Town. But the kind of things that people say, and those were children, you got to forgive them, right? But they get this crap from somewhere, just like all these weirdos living out in crazy town, getting ready for whatever it is they got planned for March 4th. So, like I say, March 4th is right around the corner. So, if you do any dealings on the dark web or you know somebody and you hear them talking about March 4th, there's something about to go down, and we have got to find out what it is because we should have been paying more attention. But who would have thunk that January 6th would have happened, right? All right. There's been so much that has happened, over the past year that who would have thought that it would ever happen? Of course, we never thought that we'd be in the middle of a pandemic, right? And so today, I'm sitting here grading papers, trying to do my thing. I turn on one of my shows to watch. I don't know if any of you watch the show For Life. It's one of the only things that 50 Cent has ever done that I've respected. I'll be honest with you. And because of COVID, they've had some delays in production. And so today on this show, as I'm watching and I'm catching up, I had to relive George Floyd all over again through a fictional show that is based on a real life guy. All right. And that didn't make me feel good. It didn't make me feel good because I can't even think about that without it just happening all over again and me experiencing the trauma of seeing that. And yeah, I know that, we're going to have a new bill named after George Floyd. There's probably going to be streets named after him. I am so sure that money is going to be raised to send his little baby girl to college. But there ain't nothing in this world that I wish more than if we had never heard of George Floyd and that he was just out there living his best life right now. That's what I wish. That's what I wish for everybody who has died. And then a movement starts. We shouldn't have to have movements anymore. So George Floyd did not cause the movement. His death was the catalyst, something that should never have happened. And no, I won't stop talking about that. I will never stop talking about that. It is painful. That right there displayed the ugliness of white America, white supremacist America, more than anything that I have ever seen in my life. And so I can't forget it. I can't stop talking about it because the minute we stop remembering that day and that horror, that's the minute that we grow complacent again. And we can not ever rest. We cannot ever rest. I always say that I'm going to, pull out my inner comic on my shows. I swear I'm going to do it every time. But there's just too much serious stuff going on, guys. There's just too much going on. And it's heavy. So if anybody out there who is listening has any plans of ever running for office, even if it's a local office, I encourage you to do that. That's something that I'm seriously planning to do in the next maybe 2 to 4 years. I started to do it a couple of years ago. It was about 4 years ago. But then because my baby girl was still in college still in high school, hadn't started to college, I I just couldn't do that to her and mess up her world like that. Now she's a junior. She's graduating next year. She's coming back home to Georgia, and she's going to go to Georgia State Law School, even though she is attending undergrad at the finest law school outside of Harvard in the United States, and that is University of Alabama. But Alabama has let her down. Bless her heart. I tried to tell her because I went there, I grew up there, and I know what it's like. And I tried to tell her, but she was so disillusioned by her sorority sisters who were not sisters, and just the whole atmosphere there. And so baby girl is ready to come home, and I am so glad that she is. Um, Thank you, Tony. I know we do need fair people in office, and I see all of your notes there. I don't know if any of the other audience can see. I don't know what you guys can see. I feel like now that I'm the teacher who's got the faculty view of the grade book, But I started to run for Congress few years ago against Barry Loudermilk. I was living in that district in Cobb County at the time. And so I now live in DeKalb County. I live in Atlanta. I live in DeKalb County, and this is where it is happening. And I don't know if I will run for, local or state or federal, but it is something that I plan to do. But I do want to run on a heavy ticket of racial justice and equality for all. One of the things that I am most passionate about is that, and that's how I got my PhD, is doing research on this and the disparities in our public school systems and in our colleges and how kids of color are treated and how there's multiculturalism is celebrated by having a stupid carnival and bringing in food and not really talking about culture and educating about culture at all. So I did my research on that. Started it when Barack Obama was not even sworn in yet, because I saw where that was going with all the hatred that started coming out. And in my doctoral dissertation, I predicted Donald Trump. Yeah, didn't, not by name, but the ugliness of him. I called it the backlash of the audacity that we had to elect a black man to the White House. And so we see that that did come to fruition, and I wish like hell it had not. But it did, and here we are. So yes, so I don't know what I'll be running for, but I know that I don't want to unseat any of our fine Democrats who are in their current seats. So I may start out small here in Atlanta. I don't know. But whatever I do, it's going to be done for all people, but especially the people who need it. When many politicians, bless them, say that they are there for all people, what they're really saying, some of them, is that I'm here for all people, so let me take care of my white people over here, and then I'm going to get to you later. I don't think that that is how Joe Biden thinks. He's got too many people working with him, and he has really seen so much. And I have a lot of faith in him. I've watched him grow. I mean, can't help but love him, man. You can't. And he's got a lot to learn. He knows he's got a lot to learn. You know, I'm not going to hold his whiteness or his age, you know, or his privilege against him, because the man is making the efforts and he's really trying. And I know that he really does hurt for people. And so we've got enough people who are going to keep him in the know of what's really going on. But we do need more people who have grown up under not so you know, privileged of circumstances. Um, People who didn't get to live life as, you know, we're supposed to according to our developmental milestones, who know what it's like to have our quest up the pyramid to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to our self-actualization, to have it interrupted and interrupted, and to have ourselves pulled down and pulled down time and again. We need to have those people in there, and I am one of those people. So yes, I do plan on running, and I did not mean for this to be a political speech, but that is, I'm actually in training right now with the Democratic training committee to try to figure out how to raise money and get people working for me who will come and volunteer and just get this done. But it's going to be a long road. But for right now, I'm just here on Sunday evenings. I'm going to keep this time for 6 p.m. To reach out to you. And as I said at the beginning of my show, Sundays are a time when the majority of people who experience depression feel down. And that's because whether you're religious or not, that Sunday is always a time, it always has historically been a time for families. And I understand that for the Black community, that Sunday is a time for going to church and hanging out with, you know, your people in your neighborhood and at the church. And there's a whole lot of history behind that. And I know that there's this whole big PBS special going on. And a lot of my non-believer Black friends are worried that it's going to be touting religion and how it saved Black folk. No, religion did not save Black folk. um, but we'll talk about that another time. Or you can go back and listen to some of my earlier podcast when I do talk about the history of the Negro spiritual and the Black churches. And I grew up singing in the church, and I loved it, but I can't sing about stuff that isn't true anymore. So sorry, I had to have a drink of water there. What I prefer to do is to use my voice now just to talk. We got a lot of singers out there, but I prefer just talking to people. Now, for those of you listening, this is a call-in show, so I hope that you will tell your friends that Dr. BB in the Middle has moved to 6 p.m. on Sunday, because I am not a night person. That 10 o'clock hour on Wednesday was killing me, probably because I see 10 patients on Wednesdays. That's my longest day for seeing patients. And so, man, that was wearing me. But I love my Sundays. I'm more chill on Sundays. And I think I'm more myself on Sundays. There's no hype, there's no script. I just want to share with you what's on my heart. So, with that being said, I want to bid my listeners a good Sunday evening. And for any of my listeners out in Texas, my heart is with you. And I hope that this ends soon for you and that you have everything restored. So just get out there and carry on this week. Keep your eyes open. If you see something, say something. And just know that if we are all together and we love each other, that there is nothing that we cannot do. And this is Dr. BB signing out. I'll see you again at 6 p.m. next Sunday.